Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Sri Lanka Committee for Treatment and Research in Multiple Sclerosis and Related Disorders, it is my privilege to warmly welcome you to the inauguration ceremony of the 7th Annual Congress, SLC TRIMS 2026. Before we kickstart today's proceedings, let us pay tribute to Mother Lanka. Please rise for the national anthem.
Sri Lanka, Namo, 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 Mata. Sundara Sri Karini, Surani Ati Sobhamana Lanka. Ranya Ganaya Mekamal Valaturu Jaya Bhumiya Ranya.
First and foremost, it is my pleasure to invite the following dignitaries for the lighting of the traditional oil lamp. Dr. Bimsara Senanayaka, the founder president, SLC TRIMS. Our chief guest, Dr. Asila Gunawardana, Director General of Health Services, Sri Lanka. Guest of honor, Professor Owen Flanagan, Professor of Neurology, Mayo Clinic, USA. Dr. Ajantha Kesavaraj, President, Association of Sri Lankan Neurologists. Professor Hans-Peter Hartung, Co-President, European Charcot Foundation. Dr. T. Thevakaran, Founder Secretary, SLC TRIMS. Dr. Harsha Gunasekara, Treasurer, SLC TRIMS. Dr. Arjuna Fernando and Professor Tershi Chang, Committee members of SLC TRIMS. And also Professor Letitia Lerkani, Associate Professor in Neurology, Vita Salute, San Rafael University, Milan. Please come forwards to light the traditional oil lamp. Thank you very much. You may now take your seats. The SLC TRIMS stands on a strong foundation laid by its visionary leaders. To formally commence today's proceedings, I cordially invite Senior Consultant Neurologist Dr. Bimsara Senanayaka, the founder president of SLC TRIMS, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the inauguration ceremony of our 7th Annual Academic Congress. The Congress opened this morning with a flurry of stimulating academic activity with excellent participation. This year, we are privileged and honored to have Dr. Asela Gunawardena, Director General of Health Services of Sri Lanka, as our chief guest. We warmly welcome him. Thank you, Asela, for being here and gracing this occasion in spite of your busy schedule. Also, as our guest of honor, I am delighted to welcome Professor Owen Flanagan, Professor of Neurology, Mayo Clinic, USA, with whom we have been collaborating for the last 14 years. This is Owen's first visit here to Sri Lanka, and I take this opportunity to welcome him warmly to our beautiful island. Also representing the European Charcot Foundation, the leading organization in Europe for multiple sclerosis research and treatment, its co-president, Professor Hans-Peter Hartung. Peter is no stranger to Sri Lanka, having been here on several occasions previously. Also, let me warmly welcome Professor Letizia Liocani, also from the European Charcot Foundation, who has been a regular visitor for this meeting, along with our dear friend, late ECF President, Professor Giancarlo Comi, whom we sadly miss. This year too, we have a world-class faculty of speakers, including Professor Joseph Dallamau, who did the pioneering work in discovering the NMDA receptor antibody encephalitis, and Professor Sarosh Irani, who did similar work with LGI1 encephalitis, and Professor Javier Montalban, who's spearheading the creation of the new MS McDonald criteria, who joined us this morning. Both Sarosh and Javier have been here before in Sri Lanka to attend this meeting. And Professor Fujihara, one of our pioneer supporters of all SLC TRIMS activities, is also with us this year. And I am personally very proud to see Dr. Ajanta Kesavaraj, President of the Association of Sri Lankan Neurologists, present here representing all Sri Lankan neurologists. I have known Ajanta closely from her training days, and I am so happy to witness all her great achievements. She has managed to take Sri Lankan neurology to greater heights during her presidency, working tirelessly. Also, I would like to thank Arjuna, Harsha, Tiva, and Tashi for their unstinted support as always. I also welcome all life members and ASN members, including past presidents, associate members, trainee neurologists, pediatric neurologists, and clinical neurophysiologists. Also, especially our distinguished invitees, well-wishers, most of whom have been here before, regulars at this ceremony every year. So thank you very much for being here. It means a lot to us. So in the presence of the Director General of Health Services of Sri Lanka, I would like to say that these immune-mediated conditions like multiple sclerosis and related disorders affecting many thousands of Sri Lankan patients in the prime of their youth. The numbers are increasing every year exponentially. When we started more than 25 to 30 years ago to identify and evaluate this problem and published our first reports, some even were skeptical about the existence of MS in Sri Lanka. Today, in our National Hospital Clinic alone, we have approximately 350 confirmed cases of multiple sclerosis, and we believe there are nearly 2,000 patients in the country, yet many undiagnosed and unrecognized. In addition, we have tested approximately 2,500 patients with live cell-based assays for antibodies like MOG and aquaporin Pro in collaboration with Mayo Clinic for related conditions including optic neuritis, myelitis, NMOSD with the help of Mayo Clinic with Owen and his colleagues, especially Sean Pittock, with whom we have been working for a very long time, who initiated this work. We started a dedicated MS clinic at the National Hospital about 10 years ago and are maintaining registries in MS and related disorders. And we are very thankful to the ministry for recognizing the need for disease-modifying drugs for MS. Over the last 15 years, they have come up with a plan to issue drugs like beta interferon and fingolimod for our patients. What a difference it has made over the years. In 2012, when we looked at these patients, about less than 50% of them were independent, walking independently. Yet now, more than 83% of our patients are mobile and are independent. However, beyond this, progress has been rather slow. There are over 25 FDA-approved disease-modifying treatments used around the world. We must give the benefit of these new therapies to our patients. Although B-cell depleting therapy, which we talked about a lot in the morning, is effective and are now widely used as therapies with more sustainable effects, less antibody formation, and like more humanized forms, like ocrelizumab, too should be available to our patients in addition to rituximab. I would like to also mention that although these disease-modifying drugs are expensive, it is money well spent, as most of these affected patients are very young, in the prime of their youth, with a whole life ahead of them. With proper early diagnosis and treatment, they get their life back, becoming useful citizens. We see and hear many such stories from our clinic. How young university students, including medical students, who have had proper diagnosis and treatment and now become fully functional professionals serving the nation. Our system, our health system, spends heavily to keep desperately ill patients alive with all sincerity, which we commend very much. In contrast with conditions such as MS, with proper effective treatment, we give a whole life back to these young people, making them productive citizens. So certainly cost effective. I'm sure the Director General of Health Services and the Ministry would give their strongest attention to this. This year, we had 2 additional programs. I thank Tashi and Vidushan for conducting the well-attended breakfast capsules and the exciting MS Patient Day on the 15th. Some of our clinic patients participated in that. You will see video footage of that shortly. I thank Himal and Raveen for putting this together for us. Before I finish, I must thank a group of young people who made this event possible, like all their predecessors from the time we started, from our inception. They worked so hard, tirelessly, with such passion and love, like one family looking into every detail so immaculately. So it is no easy task with no formal admin office or admin secretaries to put together a conference like this. So I thank my senior registrars, Dr. Ruan Patirana, Pramit Ruan Patirana, who has been spearheading the team, Pavitra Satyasilan, and Sujani Sujo, Dr. Shanya Padma Peruma, Bava, Dr. Bhavanandan, and Ishara Disanayaka, and Dr. Chaturanga Balasuri, our newest addition, for their dedication and commitment. Also, now a veteran, Shanindra Dialvis, the fine young neurologist who has just returned from England. Thank you very much for all your contributions. And I must also thank Dr. Amila Kure, who has been helping us throughout this period. And another big thank you to Nimalka for all what she's done with her team to make things happen. She goes out of the way to make it happen here and to have a good Congress. Tiva will be thanking those from the industry who helped us. Thank you very much. And that's all I have to say. And welcome to this evening's ceremony and have a good time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now we present to you a Kandyan dance, a proud Sri Lankan tradition that embodies rhythm, energy, and the richness of our cultural heritage. Please welcome our dance troupe. A big thank you to our dance troupe for that mesmerizing performance. And now I cordially invite the President of the Association of Sri Lankan Neurologists, Dr. Ajantha Kesavaraj, whose guidance has been instrumental in all our undertakings, to address the gathering.
Distinguished guest, the President SLSC TRIMS, honored speakers, delegates, Executive Council members, esteemed colleagues, and dear friends. Good evening, all of you. On behalf of the Association of Sri Lankan Neurologists, it is a privilege and honor to address the 7th SLC TRIMS Annual Congress today, focusing on various demyelinating disorders. Diagnosing this condition amidst the rarity of disease due to lack of awareness, presence of overlapping tropical illnesses, diagnostic ambiguity, and economic crisis continues to challenge on timely and accurate care in patients in our part of nations. Therefore, this year, the Sri Lankan Committee for Treatment and Research in Multiple Sclerosis and Related Disorders celebrates Sri Lanka's rainforest richness as a theme while advancing collaborative neurology education, research, and innovations to improve multiple sclerosis care outcome and international partnership through high-quality congress and dialogues. At the outset, I would like to warmly congratulate the President and the Council for the treatment and research in multiple sclerosis and related disorders for successfully organizing this annual Congress. Sustaining such a focused and high-quality academic platform over the years reflects commitments, vision, and a deep sense of responsibilities to our patients. As we gather here today, it is also the opportunity to reflect on our collective journey. The progress in understanding demyelination disorders has never been straightforward. Particularly in tropical countries like Sri Lanka, at many occasions, overlapping infectious diseases, inflammatory, and immune-mediated conditions make the clinical diagnosis very challenging. Thus, sharing and learning and collaboration makes the diagnosis more accurate. That's why we are here today. In this context, I wish to extend our heartfelt gratitude and appreciation to Dr. Bimsara Senanayake for his outstanding leadership. His dedication and passion have significantly strengthened SLC TRIMS academic direction and clinical guidance. Under his visionary guidance, his team meaningful steps forward and had made an advancement in research, fostering collaborations, enhancing patient-centered care in multiple sclerosis and related disorders. What stands out most is the spirit and partnership that has been cultivated, bringing clinicians, researchers, and trainees together with the shared purpose to navigate the diagnostic complexity unique to our region. At this Congress, the Congress defines to encourage all of you actively involved in this program, try to share your experiences, challenging perspectives, and contribute thoughtfully to discussions. Therefore, such collective efforts, we can continue to improve understanding, refine practical, and ultimately enhance lives of those affected in Sri Lanka. Finally, I wish SLC TRIMS every success for this Congress and for upcoming events. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Madam. Next, it gives me the greatest pleasure to introduce our esteemed chief guest for the evening, Dr. Asela Gunawardena, the Director General of Healthcare Services, Sri Lanka, a driving force behind the advancement of healthcare and the progress of our professional fraternity. Dear Sir, this invitation goes to you to address the gathering.
Good evening to all of you. The founder president of SLT TRIMS, Dr. Bimsara Senanayaka, Dr. Ajantak Eswaraj, the President Association of Sri Lanka Neurologists, the guest of honor today, Professor Owen Flanagan, Professor of Neurology, Mayo Clinic, USA, Professor Hans Peter, the co-president, European Charcot Foundation, all the professors, all the consultants, all the researchers, ladies and gentlemen. It is a profound honor for me to stand before you today as the Director General of Health Services at the inauguration of 7th Annual Congress of SLC TRIMS. As we gathered here in 2026, we see a medical landscape that is rapidly evolving. When SLC TRIMS was founded back in 2018, the goal was clear: to create a dedicated platform for the understanding, research, and treatment of multiple sclerosis and related disorders in Sri Lanka. Today, seeing this packed hall and the caliber of international collaboration with the European Charcot Foundation, it is evident that this mission has been resounding success. This Congress stands as a testament to the dedication and perseverance of clinicians, researchers, and healthcare professionals who have chosen to focus on a group of neurological conditions that are complex, often misunderstood, and deeply impactful on the lives of patients and their families. Your work is not only scientific, but it is profoundly humanitarian. Addressing the burden of neurological disorders, multiple sclerosis, neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorders is once considered rare or Western disease. However, thanks to the tireless work of our neurologists, we now recognize that these conditions significantly impact the lives of many Sri Lankans, often young adults in their most productive years. Multiple sclerosis and related disorders present a significant and growing challenge to the health system worldwide. These conditions predominantly affect young adults, often at the most productive stage of their lives, and have far-reaching consequences not only for patients but also for families, communities, and the national economy. As the DGHS, my priority is ensuring that our healthcare system is equipped to handle these complex chronic conditions. We are currently navigating a pivotal era in Sri Lankan healthcare where we are focusing on improving diagnostic capabilities, strengthening our MRI and neuro-ophthalmological services across the island. Let us remain mindful that behind every research paper, every clinical trial, every guideline, there is a patient seeking hope, dignity, and quality of life. Our collective responsibility is to ensure that scientific advancement translate into tangible benefits for those we serve. Affordability of care, bridging the gap between groundbreaking international treatments and what we sustainably provide for our citizens. That's what Bimsara was expressing in his speech. Research and data. I am particularly pleased to see the emphasis on a national MS registry. The accurate data is the backbone of any health policy, and I commend SLC TRIMS for taking the lead on this. I am especially encouraged by the role of SLC TRIMS plays in bringing together neurologists, physicians, scientists, allied health professionals, and trainees onto a single platform. Such interdisciplinary engagement is essential for advancing comprehensive care and nurturing the next generation of clinician researchers. Equally important are your efforts to establish international collaborations which will enhance research quality and place Sri Lanka firmly on the global MS research map. Sri Lanka has made remarkable strides in healthcare delivery, yet we recognize that the management of complex neurological and neuroimmunological disorders demand continuous improvement in research capacity, diagnostic accuracy, access to evidence-based therapies, and multidisciplinary care models. Local research is particularly vital as disease patterns, treatment responses, and healthcare challenges in our population may differ from those reported in high-income countries. The importance of global collaboration, the presence of esteemed international faculty today, sharing insight on hot topics in MS and new diagnostic criteria highlights that Sri Lanka is no longer an island in the medical world. We are part of a global community, and the exchange of knowledge happening today is what transforms a local hospital into a center of excellence. Multiple sclerosis and related neuroimmunological disorders present unique challenge in low and middle income countries. These include delayed diagnosis, limited access to advanced investigation, high cost of disease modifying therapies, and the need for long-term multidisciplinary care. Addressing these challenges requires strong research capacity, evidence-based clinical practice, and policy support informed by local data. I urge you to continue pushing the boundaries of what it is possible within our local context. Clinical audits and research conduct in our soil are vital. They help the Ministry of Health tailored guidelines and are specifically suited for the Sri Lankan patients. Let us move forward with a shared purpose, strengthening networks, encouraging collaboration, and ensuring that scientific advances translate into real improvements in the quality of life of our patients. Together, through a collective efforts and shared vision, we can build a future where individuals living with multiple sclerosis in Sri Lanka receive timely diagnosis, optimal treatment, and compassionate and comprehensive care. Conclusion, I wish to congratulate the President and the organizing committee for their meticulous planning. Your dedication to improving the clinical outcomes for the living with multiple sclerosis is a beacon of hope for our patients. I wish you all a very productive and insightful 2 days. It's through these sessions that we move one step closer to our vision of a healthier nation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are truly honored to welcome a distinguished global expert who has traveled from the USA to be with us today. Please join me in welcoming the guest of honor, Professor Owen Flanagan, Professor of Neurology and Chair of the Division of Multiple Sclerosis and Autoimmune Neurology, Mayo Clinic, USA, and Program Director of the Autoimmune Neurology Fellowship at Mayo Clinic. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much for inviting me here to be with you today. It's a real honor and pleasure to be finally able to make it here to Sri Lanka. I got the opportunity many years ago to get to know Bimsara. I think we first met at the American Academy of Neurology 4 or 5 years ago. He had already established a great collaboration with Dr. Sean Piddock at Mayo Clinic. This has been a really fruitful collaboration. I think there's been many thousands of samples sent to our lab, tested for MOG and aquaportin 4. And there's been some really impactful publications that have come from that. The first of which was a publication on the epidemiology of MOG antibody-associated disease here in Sri Lanka. It was one of the earliest epidemiology studies of MOGAD, and it was highlighted specifically, along with a couple of other regions in the world, outlining how MOGAD is a global disease affecting many people around the world. And this is really important to know, as I think, as was mentioned earlier, these conditions tend to be under-recognized. Also, with aquaportin 4 antibodies, the epidemiology of neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorder was then published on many years later. That has also been very impactful to see the impact of these conditions that probably are more overrepresented than they are in places like the USA or in Western Europe. For me, I'm originally from Ireland, so I come from an island nation, and it's really nice to be able to travel to another island nation and see such great culture here, with the dancing this evening, with trying out the different foods here in Sri Lanka, and seeing the beautiful landscape on the way in from the airport, and looking forward to seeing more over the coming few days. It's great to hear everybody talking about the different aspects of patient care, because I think it's very important to put patients at the forefront. I work at the Mayo Clinic in the USA, which is just a small town in Minnesota, up near the Canadian border. But the city originated actually, the hospital originated after a tornado came through the town and damaged many people's lives, and many people were injured and killed. And the initial William Worrell Mayo, and then his sons Will and Charlie Mayo, set up the Mayo Clinic. And they had a main focus. The primary value was the needs of the patient come first. And it was so nice to hear, particularly in the last talk, about how the focus is on patients. And I know you mentioned earlier that you're having a patient day coming up, and it's really important to keep the patients at the focus of what we do. At the Mayo Clinic, they have a very collaborative environment, so working together with people and teamwork is very important. And what you can get a sense of here in Sri Lanka is that even though there are challenges in the number of neurologists that you have, that it is a focus on teamwork. And those fundamentals of neurology really don't change across borders. You can clearly see that people here are very well trained and really have great expertise in the questions that are asked at the sessions or in people coming up and asking you about patients. It's really obvious that people are extremely well trained and really looking out for their patients and trying to help them. And that's been notable even attending virtually over the last many years about how people really have a great sense of the neurology skill set that is so important. You know, we have all of these advances in technology, but there was many talks today just highlighting the importance of that clinical evaluation and the fundamentals of neurology being so important. I'm looking forward to future ongoing collaborations with BIMSARA. We are looking to do a global epidemiology study at the moment where we will look at what is the frequency of multiple sclerosis, the incidence and prevalence around the world, and of these other conditions in the era of antibody testing. So NMOSD, MOGAD, MS, and what about the other conditions, relapsing optic neuritis, transverse myelitis, acute disseminated encephalomyelitis. So we're hoping to build a broad collaboration. We have collaborators from Europe, from other regions in Asia, from Tasmania, from Martinique, and from Sweden, and then from our region in the USA. So hopefully, as was mentioned in the last talk, that will allow us develop a deep collaboration and really understand these diseases better. It's also great to hear that there are new medications being approved here in Sri Lanka, and I'm hoping that more medications will come down the line so you can offer the patients the treatments that they deserve. You know, for example, in NMOSD, we have so many new treatments that have come in, but many of these are not accessible right now. But the hope is in the future, with these scientific advancements and when they come off patent and biosimilars become available, that all of these treatments will be made available throughout the world and really be able to impact our patients. But in MOG antibody disease, we still have no treatments, so it's up to us to try and develop those treatments and then try and make them globally available. And having rituximab as a WHO-approved medication is really a great advance for regions like Sri Lanka, as this is a medication that works very well for many of our autoimmune conditions, including MS. So I'll finish up by just saying thank you so much to you all for inviting me, for such interest in all of our talks, for telling us the stories about patients here in Sri Lanka. I'm looking forward, I think, to visiting the hospital on Monday to get to see some patients live. So this is a real exciting time for me. And so happy to be here and to learn from all of you and bring back stories that I can learn about my own patients back in Minnesota. So thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you, sir. We are deeply honored to have with us Professor Hans-Peter Hartung, co-president of the European Charcot Foundation. He is a professor of neurology at Heinrich Heine University Hospital, Dusseldorf, and an honorary professor, Brain and Mind Center, University of Sydney. He is the former chairman and director at the Department of Neurology and the Center for Neuropsychiatry and Neurology, and the director of the Department of Conservative Medicine, Heinrich Heine University, Germany. Dear sir, this invitation goes to you to address the gathering.
Director General, Madam President, Mr. President, dear BIMSARA, dear members of the Executive Committee of Sri Lanktrim's, dear colleagues and friends. On behalf of the European Charcot Foundation, my co-president Xavier Montalban, the member of the scientific board Letizia Leocani, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude for having been invited again to your beautiful island and Colombo. You know, this interaction of ECTRIMS of ECF, European Charcot Foundation, and Srilactams was initiated by our late dear friend, Professor Giancarlo Comi and Bimsara, and has really come to further fruition over the years. It's exemplary of one of the goals of the European Charcot Foundation to foster international collaboration. So we have joint symposia with all the TRIMs around the world, and this is a source of continued insight into the activities in the various countries, and we share your enthusiasm and commitment to better the lives of our patients. So, without further ado, I would like to once more thank you so much for inviting me, giving the European Charcot Foundation the opportunity and privilege to work together with you, and we hope that we can continue this very friendly, collegial relationship also in the future. Thank you very much. Wish you and as Lectrums all the best. Enjoy the evening.
Thank you, sir. And we sincerely thank our distinguished resource persons, many of whom have traveled from overseas to be with us today. To honor your invaluable contributions, may I invite the founder-president of SLC TRIMS, Dr. Bimsara Senanayake, on stage to present some tokens of appreciation to our esteemed guests. First, Professor Owen Flanagan. Professor Hans-Peter Hartung. Professor Letitia Lakhani. Professor Tershi Chang. And Dr. Vithusan Sahadevan. Thank you, sir. Before we proceed further, let us take a moment to reflect on a truly meaningful initiative, the MS Patient Day, that brought doctors and patients together in conversation, compassion, and care. Held on the 15th of January at the Neuroclinic NHSL, this MS Patient Day created a space for patients over the past decade and clinicians to have heartfelt discussions on well-being, nutrition, women's health, and patients' voices were truly heard. It was a day marked by shared learning with fun activities and genuine human connection. We now invite you to revisit these moments through the following video.
Multiple sclerosis is often spoken about in numbers: lesion counts, relapse rates, disability scores. But today is not about numbers. Today is about people. People living with MS. People who carry invisible battles into very visible lives. People who wake up every day not knowing what that day will ask of them, and yet show up anyway. This day was created for them. A space not defined by hospital walls or clinic appointments, but by shared laughter, open conversations, and the simple comfort of being understood. When patients arrived, they did not come as diagnoses. They came as individuals, parents, professionals, artists, and dreamers, each with a unique story, yet bound together by a common journey. Multiple sclerosis can be isolating. Symptoms fluctuate, experiences differ, and often patients feel that no one truly understands what they are going through. But here something changed. They met others who just knew, who didn't need long explanations, who had felt the same fatigue, the same uncertainty, the same resilience. For many, this was the first time they met another person living with MS. And in that meeting, isolation quietly gave way to connection. Throughout the day, conversations flowed freely. Patients spoke with one another, sharing experiences, coping strategies, and hope. Doctors listened, not across a desk, but side by side. This was not a day of lectures. It was a day of listening. Listening to fears, listening to victories, listening to what truly matters beyond MRI scans and treatment protocols. Games brought laughter. Moments of play reminded everyone that joy is not something MS can take away. That even within chronic illness, there is space for lightness. Every smile you see here carries meaning, because joy in this context is not trivial. It is powerful. It reminds us that quality of life is not an abstract concept. It is lived, felt, and shared. For the doctors, this day offered something invaluable, a reminder of why we chose this field. Beyond disease-modifying therapies and clinical guidelines, there is a person navigating life with MS, a life that continues between appointments. Seeing patients connect with one another reinforces an important truth. Medicine is not only about treating disease, but about strengthening communities. And for the patients, this day sent a clear message. You are not alone. You are seen. You are heard. Community does not cure MS, but it changes how MS is lived. It transforms uncertainty into shared strength, fear into mutual support, silence into conversation. As clinicians and researchers, we often focus on slowing progression. But days like this remind us of another equally important goal: to help people live fully, meaningfully, and with dignity. This Patient Day was not an end point, it was a beginning. Beginning of connections that will extend beyond this room, of conversations that will continue long after today, of trust that deepens partnerships between patients and healthcare teams. As this conference brings together minds dedicated to advancing MS care, we invite you to remember these faces. Remember the laughter, remember the stories, remember that behind every data point is a human life. Because progress in multiple sclerosis is not measured only in years without relapse, but in moments of connection, empowerment, and hope. And today, hope was very much alive.
Hope you enjoyed your time with SLC TRIMS. So before winding up today's proceedings, I kindly invite consultant neurologist Dr. T. Thivakaran, the founder secretary of SLC TRIMS, to deliver the vote of thanks.
The Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Asela Gunawardena, DGHS, Guest of Honor, Professor Flanagan, President SLC TRIMS, Dr. Bimsara Senanayaka, President European Charcot Foundation, Professor Hans-Peter Hartung, and President of our ASN, Dr. Ajanta Keshawaraja. All the distinguished guests, including people from overseas and our local faculty, our ASN and other neurology colleagues, both seniors and juniors, and the special invitees to this occasion, the families, and of course, are very grateful sponsors. Greetings to every one of you. Vote of thanks is actually the last but the most important task of any event. I am very happy to do it as we are into the 7th edition of the SL TRIMS Congress in collaboration with the European Charcot Foundation. We have continued in this every year despite many challenges we faced over the years, and now we are into the 7th session, and this is also going on very successfully. First of all, let me thank our foreign faculty who are here with us both physically and virtually. Sri Lanka and SL TRIMS are not new to you, but every time you come, you bring us new wealth of knowledge, and especially these 2 years, we have seen the growth of it. Professor Hans-Peter Hartung, President of the European Charcot Foundation, thank you for being with us, sir, once again, conducting the joint symposium of our 2 committees, as well as delivering many thought-provoking and interesting talks today. Professor Leticia Leocanai, you open our eyes every time into the world of neuro-ophthalmology in relevance to demyelination, and we enjoyed your talks this day again. Professor Ian Flanagan, your talks were mesmerizing, and being a world authority on MS and its new criteria development, it was a treat to listen to you on this day. Your engagement in our interactive discussions also were very heartening. There are more of you who are going to deliver talks on the second day, and let me acknowledge everybody who presented virtually as well as on this day. Professor Kazuo Fujihara, we miss your physical presence today, but this was more than compensated by your virtual interactive session and talk on this day. The other presenters today, Professor Sylvia Tenenbaum, Professor Tanuja Chitnis, Professor Andrew Chan, Professor Ellen Maury, Professor Andrew Solomon, and those who are going to speak on the day too, Professor Saro Shirani, Professor Divinash Dubey, and Professor Joseph Dalmo. Thank you for all of you in advance. Today's session started with a very exciting breakfast session delivered by our own beloved Professor Tashi Chang. And when I entered the room, it was very difficult for me to identify an empty seat. So your talks are very popular among all the juniors. So thank you very much, sir. And Dr. Vitushan, our young neurologist, you are going to deliver tomorrow's breakfast capsule, and I'm sure you are going to do an excellent job, as you two are very popular among aspiring doctors. Our chief guest, Dr. Asela Gunawardena, is known for his gentle and efficient administration. Thank you, sir, for your wise words on this occasion. Our comparer, I think I'm having a different voice, but you are listening to the very soothing voice of a comparer, Senara Vidanapatrana. I think I pronounced your name okay. Thank you for doing a wonderful job. There's a special working committee our president introduced to you earlier with the faces who were responsible for the whole organization of this SL-TRIMS program. They started work very early, many months ago. And I'm sure Dr. Bimsara has mentioned each of them. I know all of you, almost, but because I'm afraid I may avoid telling one name, I'm avoiding to repeat the names. All of you comprise our very knowledgeable and enthusiastic senior registrars in our neurology fraternity. In future, you're going to become our colleagues. Thank you very much for all of you, because the executive committee's work, and especially my own work, is lessened very much because of your commitment. So a special thank you. The SL-TRIMS Executive Committee, including our founder members, Professor Tashi Chang, Dr. Harsha Gunasekara, and Dr. Arjuna Fernando, thank you very much for the continued support for the accomplishments of SL-TRIMS. And a special thanks for our SL-TRIMS, the live members. Some of them I can see at the front row. Thank you for all of you. Very special thanks we owe to its founder president, Dr. Bimsara Senanayake. I think I used to describe him as the, early also in a meeting, as our North Star. You know, North Star always stay, and North Star is the one which guides. So if it comes to MS, all the demyelinating diseases, the treatment and researchers, he's our North Star. So that North Star has guided us so far, and this being the number 7 is a very lucky number. We are very lucky to have you, sir. Miss Nimalka, our ever affable event coordinator, along with your lovely team, HNA Consultation and Events. Thank you very much for coordinating this huge event again. Good coordination comes very easily to you always. So regards to your whole team. Similarly, Miss Manisha and her Gene Walker team, thank you for all the printing work. And Miss Leanvi Miranda, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Thank you for the designing. Mr. Alina Varnasinghe, your impressive events team has been impressing us all over, both in our ASN and SL trims. Thank you for the audio, video, and communication coordination. Amal and Anirudh, thank you for the veteran skills in the photography. All of you are truly impressing us. All those who are helping and helped us in the registration desk, including the NSASL Admin Secretary Dhammika and all her team, thank you very much. The Shangri-La Hotel Management deserves our heartfelt thanks for the lovely venue, ambience, food, and the excellent coordination they help us. The dance troupe, we just witnessed the Namaste creation by PG Kavindu Madhushan. You entertained us again very well. That was a very splendid performance. Thank you very much. There's a big group yet I'm going to thank. These are our generous sponsors. So let me name each of you. Thank you from our hearts for each one of you. The ABC Pharma Services Private Limited, Merck and the Bauer and Company Limited, Merck Pharmaceuticals, Allergan Pharmaceuticals International, the Searle Company Limited, Novartis Pharma, and the Roche Pharmaceuticals. Thank you for all of you for your generous contributions. Finally, to all the distinguished audience here, both colleagues, friends, and families, thank you for sharing your valuable time this evening with us. I'm afraid I could have missed at least a few people, all who helped us and are helping us. Please kindly accept our heartfelt thanks. Let me conclude by inviting all of you to join the fellowship just about to start now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now let us move on to the entertainment session, starting with the dancers. A woman is a life-giving force that shapes humanity from the very first breath. At every stage of life, at birth, in youth, as a bride, and even in death, she carries a quiet strength and a profound lesson. Bearing this weight with grace, she weaves it into the ever-changing cycle of life. We now invite the Namaste dance troupe to take the stage and bring this expression of womanhood to life through their performance, an ode to womanhood.
Sakhiya sagovat rodaya kyar kenava ho 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 tamena dada ho ho tanam sasunda diya palle tibe ala දෙයන්නේ පිටයි සසඳ දිය මතු පිට තිබෙයි කොළ දිය මතු පිට තිබෙයි කොළ ගලෙලි හජයි දසට පිණි බබා මෝරණ කෙකුළු මල ආහා ඕහෝ මස්ට කයින්ට මුතු කුඩයකි නෙළුම් මල වදෙන තන මස්ට කයින්ට මුතු කුඩයකි නෙළුම් මල සසඳ සඳ පොබයන සාවුන්ට දෙයන්නේ පිටේ මක්කොලි බඳට දුට්ටු විගසට ගිරවුන්ට ගලලි හරයි අදින සරේ රොංගෙන යන බමරුන්ට පොරටි කිරෝ සත් සමුදුර පීනන්ට වරටි කිරෝ සත් සමුදුර පීනන්ට
A big thank you to our dance troupe with that breathtaking performance. And with that, we bring today's proceedings to a close. We extend our sincere gratitude to all our distinguished guests and participants for being a part of this momentous occasion. We hope you had a splendid evening and invite you to join us for the fellowship, cocktails, and dinner. Thank you and have a good night.